Here we go with another fun project. Got a 2010 Ford Escape all-wheel drive, and the problem is there's a leaky pinion seal. I'm on the driver's side. We're going under now. I'll show you where the issue is here. Bear with me. Anyhow, this has been leaking. It's not, you can't really see it dripping right now because I wiped it up somewhat, but right here is the problem area. This is the transfer case, and the Ford calls it a power, what do they call it? Power transfer output, I think, something like that. Power output transfer. Anyway, it's the transfer case. This is the drive shaft that goes back here. Here's the carrier bearing, which is just a center support, because you got two-piece drive shaft. You got this front piece here, and then you've got the back part of the drive shaft, which goes to the rear differential, which is, you know, back there somewhere. I don't know if my finger's pointing at it or not, but back here. Anyhow, what we've got to do is pull out this front drive shaft. So to do that, there's these saddles here on this. This is a standard universal joint. So there's 4 bolts. I don't know if I can spin this with one hand. There we go. I've got the car jacked up. We're on jack stands, as you can see down here. You've got to remove 4 bolts. So let me get some light on it for you. You've got 2 here. These are 8mm. So we'll take those off. There's a saddle that holds this bearing cap in. Now be sure when you take these caps or these retainers off that the caps don't fall off, because the needle bearings will spill out all over the place. So you got one here and then one up here, and you can rotate that. You know, that's why you jack it up. I got the car neutral so that we can get to these easy. So we'll crack these with 8mm, just a regular, you know, socket will work. I use a 3/8 will fit on there, 3/8 drive. We'll get them off, and then up here we've got 6 45, what are those? T45s, they're Torx. So those 6 bolts, and they have 3 retainer washers here. They're kind of like a horseshoe shape. Well, you can kind of see it's right here. So you got each 2 bolts holds 1 washer. So there's 3 washers and then 6 bolts. We'll back those out with the T45. You know, that's a Torx bit. And once we get that broke free, what I did was, now a lot of guys have problems with these Ford CV. This is a CV joint up here. In the back, we call that a universal. With this CV joint, there's 6 balls in here, like ball bearings in a cage. Now, if this comes apart, you're going to have ball bearings spilling all over. You'll have to put those back in, which can be a hassle. This separates right here where my finger is. So what I did was sprayed it with some PB Blaster, you know, get some penetrant, whatever your favorite flavor is, and let it soak in there for a little bit. And then what I'll do is I'll loosen all these back till they're, you know, 2 or 3 threads out. And then I'll tap this with a blow hammer right in here. Not on this part, not on this part here, because you don't want to dent the, that's the actual pinion flange here. So what we're trying to get at is this, behind this shield right here is our seal. And I'll give you the part number to that seal, because this is where the drip is. So make sure before you do all that, that over here, can you see the orange a little bit right here where my finger is? That's sealant. That's the fill plug. So just take a standard 3/8, you know, ratchet. Make sure that you can get that loose first. Okay, that goes right in there. And then you can remove that fill plug. That's the fill plug, because if you can't fill it, there's no sense draining it. You'll get yourself in trouble. And right here's a good spot right in here. You can see where it'll separate. This is where the joint should stay together. There's like a plate. So when it comes out, I'll show you guys what that looks like. Anyway, if you can keep that all together, when you remove this, then you won't have those bearings spilling out, and it'll save a lot of time and a lot of headache. But even if you have to replace this CV joint, if it's worn out, this one doesn't have any play. I've been rocking this, it's fine. You can, this could help you. This video would be helpful. So anyway, let's get these loose. I'll tap on this. Then what I'll do is I will back them out all the way, take them off, take the washers off, Then I'll come over here. I'm going to take these saddles off. I call them saddles because that's what they are. I'll pull the universal out. I'll get some duct tape and tape around here so that these caps don't fall off accidentally to hold them in place. And then we'll drop the drive shaft, then we'll get to the pinion nut. We'll back that off. We'll pull this flange here. We'll pull this off. And we'll get to that seal that's back there. All right, so we just loosen these up. They're not very tight. And then what you can do is just rotate this around to get better access to both of them. No biggie. Spray penetrant fluid on there first so that you don't chance snapping them, because that would suck. And that's what they look like. They're small. Just a hex. Alright, let's back these bolts out now. I'm going to cheat. I've got this on an air wrench, but you could do it by hand. You may have to get something to hold the drive shaft from spinning, but make sure you're all the way in there tight. You don't want to strip these, and back these out. Spin these out a little bit. What I'll do is I'll loosen them all up except for one, and then I'll just snug it up a little bit so we don't lose it. Okay. Coming out pretty easy. So far, so good. I want to thank you guys that continually comment on my channel and support the channel with positive comments and thumbs up. I appreciate all that, man. And ladies. All right, let me rotate this around. Compressor shut off, so now you guys can hear me. So I'm going to spray a little more blaster on there. And now that these are sort of loose, not all the way out, I'm just going to tap this in here. You know, I'm not getting crazy on it. I'm just giving it a good wrap just to free it up. Alright, the camera ran out of memory, so I had to go fix that. Alright, so I've got my hammer here, and I'm hitting this back and forth. You can see some movement now. I have two bolts in here loosely. You know, they're loose. They're not totally tight. When I say loosely, they're in a few threads. Anyway, I've tapped this, and now I can see movement. So hopefully that's going to come out in one piece. If not, we'll be real careful to try to keep those bearings together. So I can see it moving. I don't think it's showing up on film, but it is going a little wobble left to right. So we got that fluid worked in there. And you can see the rusty crap here just dripping out. Alright, so let me take the two saddles off at the back here, that you saw earlier. And then hopefully this baby will come out in one. So we got that out in one piece. And there's our pinion nut down in there. We're going to take that off. And I marked it, I scratched it. You probably can't see it, but so I know exactly where that was. And when we tighten this up, it's very important to put it back at the same torque, because you don't want to mess up that crush sleeve that's back there on the pinion. So for the pinion bearing, so make sure you set that, you know, to where it needs to be. Okay. All right, that's 1 1/16", which is a 27 millimeter. So that's what that is. Let's see if we can get that off now. It's coming off. Okay. Oops. All right, that's off. Now we'll slide this out. And you see this comes off together. This is that that hopefully I'm in a shot, this dust protector here. And here's our seal that's leaking. So let me get you, we'll get out from under the car. I'm going to give you the part number for the new seal. And we'll get this back on there. Here's the end of the drive shaft. Here's the CV joint. This cap stayed on. If that cap falls out, like I said, those balls will fall out of the cage. You'll have to put them all back together, but make sure when you do, everything moves. It should move like this, not just be stuck solid, frozen. It's made to adjust for angles. So here's this piece. Here's that tail. What we'll do is we'll clean up this part right here, right along this edge, because that's where the seal rides. And so when we put the new seal in, I'll put a little bit of grease on the inside of that seal. We'll push this back on. We didn't have to press this off. If these splines are rusty, I don't know why it would be, but if it was, or it was just stuck, what you can do is get a puller, like a steering wheel type of puller, and put the bolts through here, and then right onto the pinion, you would, tighten it down and pull this off if you got stuck. This one came right off. Here is the new seal in here. That's what it looks like. This is the 2010. I know they had a couple variants. I think most of the transfer cases are about the same on these generation Escapes, the 13 and older, but don't hold me to it. This is a 2010 model, and this was DB5Z7H426A, and that's the updated part number. Take a small screwdriver and just get under the lip of that seal and just start pounding in on it. Basically, we want to loosen it up, and I'll do that, go all the way around, and we'll pry on it, and we're not worried about butchering it, that's for sure, since we got the new one. And then I'll put a little bit of a pry bar here. Man, the phone's ringing a lot today. Oh boy, she's tight. She's tight, mama. There we go, now it's spinning. Okay, we're getting there, I think. I'm sure this is on film. Yep. There it comes. Almost out now. Bingo. Hopefully I got that on film. Here's the old seal. Probably one of the toughest ones I've ever had to take out. But we got it done. So I'll clean this up now with some brake clean, and I'll show you how to get the new one in. Alright, so that's all cleaned up. I got the new seal. I put a little bit of grease around the outer edge here, and there's already grease on the inside here, so we'll be okay with that. And all we need to do now is gently start tapping this in place. Sometimes it can be a little tricky to get in. They do make a special seal driver that's cone shaped that goes around here, but I don't have it, so we'll do it this way. We'll just go slow and steady until this flange is tight against the transfer case. So I'll just keep going all the way around, doing that. You don't want to damage this rubber piece. I'm going to keep on beating on it. I've got a flat punch here. Brass would be good, but this is steel on steel. I'm all right. And I'm just going around. I don't know if you can see because I can't see the camera, but I'm avoiding this black rubber here. So I'm right on the outer edge, just tapping in. And if I shut up, usually when you get to bottom out, you can hear a pitch tone when you have it fully seated. Hear that? Okay, that's it. We'll go all the way around. Make sure it's on tight. And that, people, is how you replace the output pinion seal here on your transfer case for your Ford Escape. And I want to give a shout out to Ford Tech Macaluco Loco. I'm going to put a link in his for his channel. He gave me the information I needed to get this job done. Those guys over at Ford, I'm telling you, my local Ford dealership, forget it. Incompetence runs rapid. I'm not going to say any names, but hey, Brian over there at Ford Tech, he knows what he's doing. He was kind enough to send me the part numbers for this seal and give me some torque specs and stuff I'll share with you and to get this done. So thank you, Brian. I appreciate the help, man. Big help. All right, so now we'll slide this back on over those splines. And what I do is you want to make sure you don't pinch that seal. So I'm going to look behind it, and as I do push in, the trick is, of course it's all nice and clean, the trick is to spin it a little bit so you know it's not pinched. So we don't want that pinched, that's for sure. And I think we're good there because it's kind of a blind spot. You can't see behind there, so it should be good. It feels good. Everything feels nice. And now I'll get that pinion nut back on once I find it, and I'll torque it down to right where I marked it off. So we'll get this back on. And then these 6 bolts for the drive shaft for the CV joint here, the 6 we took off are 30 foot-pounds. And then the 4 small bolts you saw on the saddles back there for the universal on the other end of the shaft is 17 foot-pound torque. So those are your specs for that. And I'm going to button this all up. No need to bore you guys with the rest of it. Check out some of my other repair videos. I did a seal replacement on a differential on an all-wheel drive Volkswagen Passat. So you can check that out. I'll put a link in the description down below. And they're all basically the same. It's just getting to the seal. You know, that's the hard part. Once you get to that, it's pretty much, you know, downhill from there. Hopefully Murphy's Law doesn't kick in, but never mind Murphy's Law, chaos can kick in. And you guys that watch my videos know who Chaos is. You definitely don't want him around. So let me get this buttoned up, and I'll do this by hand. I won't torque that with an air gun. I'll use the a wrench ratchet. I'll put Loctite on the 6 bolts that go in here. Get those to the 30 foot-pounds. And then the 4 bolts on the back, the small ones for the saddles, for the universal joint, we'll get those Loctited and down to 17 foot-pounds. And you could put a few bolts in here and then use your pry bar like this, the old trick where 1 bolt's here, 1 bolt's here, you know, like this, and then get in there to tighten or loosen, whatever. So if this is spinning on you when you go to take it out, if you don't have air tools, you can thread some bolts in here and here, and then just lock it in with a big screwdriver or pry bar so it won't spin, and then back it out. You'll probably need a breaker bar or something, you know, whatever. All right, let me get this tightened down to my marks so we're in spec. Actions speak louder than words, so I got 2 bolts threaded in. I want to show you. Put the pry bar in here. That's how we do it over here at this channel. We show you all the steps. No 3-minute pinion seal replacements at this on this channel. You got to go other places for that. And then what you can do is hold it while you put your torque on. And I'm looking down the middle here. Get my torque set. That's good. My lines are lined up. A little trick. We're getting ready to put this drive shaft in. We're going to put the front in first, and then I'll put the 2 saddle, the saddle bolts in the back on the universal second. So let's get this. In order to get this lined up, what I do is I use something like this, like a scratch awl, or you could use a small Phillips screwdriver, And what I'm going to do is kind of line it up through the universal to one of these holes so I can get the bolt started. I've already got thread lock on that bolt, so let's do it.
How you doing?
All right, man.
Good.
I'm talking to the camera here.
No problem. Oh, you're doing a video.
Yeah, I make YouTube videos.
Awesome.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, your wife told me you're a car guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, what are you doing right now besides dropping a drive shaft?
I just put a new pinion seal on this transfer case.
Okay.
So it was leaking. Okay, so I'm going to top off the fluid now. I'll pump the gear oil into there till that just barely starts to seep out, and then I'll put the plug back in with some thread sealant. I'll use some white pipe dope that I use. And you see this is all in now, torqued. Looks good. This is where your problem used to be. Hopefully that'll stay dry now. Come back here. We got the universal joints in. Torque these down. You don't have to go insane on these little bolts. Don't go crazy. 17 foot-pounds, that's not much. And we'll go for a test drive. Okay, so here's what we use. The rear axle and the power transfer unit are different. They both take gear oil. This is in the back. This is in the one on the front we just worked on. Take 75W140 synthetic. They're calling it rear axle lubricant. Don't worry about that. This is what you need. Here's the Ford part number. Get my finger out of the way right there. So you can get some of that. And if you were doing your rear axle, you're going to change out your differential, work on the gears. You want to use AWD. And it says premium rear axle lubricant. So that means you don't need synthetic back there. And there's your part number. Okay. I'm going to take this fill plug out now. Just turning it counterclockwise with the 3/8 ratchet. I don't expect any fluid to drip out of here. It's a little tough to get to with the camera in my way, but I'm going to do my best. Alright, it's loose. Let me do my Scotty Kilmer grunt. Ugh, there it comes. There it is. Oh yeah, got it. See, it's easy. And then, it's magnetic, so what we'll do is, that's normal. To have a little bit of sludge in there, metallic sludge, I'll clean that with some brake cleaner before it goes back in, and then I'll put the white pipe dope on there. I'll show you that. So let me top this off. Alright, well the power just went out literally, so we're on battery backup. Good thing I was charging the camera earlier. I think I mentioned the battery went dead on the camera. So I'm doing this with a flashlight just to show you guys. I got to keep going, get this done. Move on to the next one. Anyway, so I got my where is it here? This is my hose to the end of my pump for the gear oil. We're using 75W140 synthetic. Use your favorite flavor or your favorite brand. And I'll hold that in there. I'll fill it until it just starts to leak out. I put the thread sealant on the plug here. I use that stuff called Tough Stuff. It comes in like a toothpaste container, like a squeeze toothpaste. You can get it at the big box stores, your local lumberyard supply stores there in the plumbing section. All right, let me start filling it. It's going in now. As soon as it starts to spill out a little bit, seep out, more like a seep out, we'll put the plug in. I did clean it. There it comes, that's it. You see that little drip? Hopefully you guys are picking that up. That's all you need. And now I just got to make sure I got my plug in the right direction because I can't see a damn thing. There it goes that way. Okay. There we go. I'm going to try to do this one-handed here on the side. If you guys could see the angle I'm at right now, you'd be amazed I'm even near the hole here. Now I'll thread it in. You can see the pipe dope on there. The thread sealant, whatever you want to call it. All right, let's get that tightened up. I hope this video has helped you guys out. Now on this 2010 model, I don't have to bore you, but you got to suck the old fluid out if you want to drain it. This 10 model, you don't have a drain bolt on the transfer case. Go figure. Where the earlier models, like I think it's the 06s, 08, 03, something like that, they have a drain bolt, which is over here. I don't know if you can see my finger, but that side, the other side of the transfer case. And all this has is a plug. There's no plug. It's just blocked off, basically. It's ridiculous how stupid they're making these things. They just want it to blow up, so you got to buy a new one. All right. So that's good and snug. Don't have to get crazy, but we don't want it to leak either, right? Okay, I'll wipe that off. We'll take it off the jack stands and go for a test drive. All right, it's the next day and the power's back on, so I just wanted to go under there. The car's been test driven. I drove it last night. Let's go under the driver's side here and we'll take a peek. Make sure everything's still dry. Hopefully you can see what I'm seeing. Let me zoom in. There we go. So it's showing up on camera like it's wet. That's just shiny aluminum where I cleaned it. So that looks great. Successful. You can do it yourself. Just follow the video, take your time. If you have any comments, comment below. I appreciate it. Thumbs up is always good. And I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.